The moment we moved into our new home, I knew we had a problem. And that problem had a name, Karen. She was a self-appointed queen of our homeowners association, patrolling the neighborhood with a clipboard and a permanent scowl. Our first run-in was over the color of our welcome mat. Apparently, forest green was a flagrant violation of the community's earth tone policy. From there, it just escalated. She'd leave passive-aggressive notes about our lawn being a quarter-inch too long or the unapproved brand of our mailbox. My wife, Amelia, and I tried to be reasonable. We'd smile, nod, and make the changes. Amelia is a very by-the-book person. Her work as a judge has made her incredibly patient and detail-oriented. She'd read the entire HOA covenant front to back and calmly point out that our welcome mat was, in fact, compliant. Karen would just huff and storm off, only to find a new, even more ridiculous violation the next day. It felt like a personal crusade. She seemed to despise the fact that we were younger, that we kept to ourselves, and that we wouldn't bow down to her petty tyranny. The final straw was the Christmas light incident. We put up some simple, elegant white lights. 2 days later, a notice was taped to our door claiming our lights were excessively bright and disturbing the nocturnal peace of the neighborhood squirrels. That was the actual wording. We were fined $200. We refused to pay. We sent a formal letter citing the bylaws, which had no restrictions on brightness, only on the hours they could be on. That's when Karen went nuclear. A week later, another letter arrived. This one wasn't taped to our door. It was delivered via certified mail. It was an eviction notice. My heart dropped. Eviction for Christmas lights. I read the document, my hands shaking. It was filled with legalese, citing a long list of fabricated violations, from unauthorized landscaping to creating a public nuisance. It claimed we had ignored dozens of warnings, and that the HOA board had unanimously voted for our removal. It was all signed by Karen. As the HOA president, I was furious. Amelia, however, was unnervingly calm. She took the papers from my hand and read them slowly, her expression unreadable. "These look official," I said, my voice tight with panic. "Can she do this?" Amelia just tapped a finger on the document. "Something's not right," she murmured. "The formatting on this court stamp is off, and this case number, it doesn't follow the county's standard sequence." She spent the rest of the evening on her laptop, cross-referencing public records and legal databases. I paced the living room, feeling helpless. The next morning, Amelia looked up from her computer, a small, grim smile on her face. "It's a fake," she said. "The entire document is a forgery." She copied an old template, photoshopped a letterhead, and invented a case number. "There's no official filing with the court. She's trying to scare us into leaving." Relief washed over me, immediately replaced by a white-hot anger. "We have to do something," I said. "This is a crime." Amelia nodded. "Oh, we will," she replied. "But we're going to do it by the book." We hired a lawyer and filed a lawsuit against Karen and the HOA for harassment and forgery. We documented every note, every false claim, every interaction. Our lawyer was confident, but Karen doubled down. In her official response, she claimed the eviction was legitimate and that we were the ones harassing her. She even filed a counterclaim, producing more evidence of our supposed violations. Blurry photos of our trash cans being out an hour too early, and signed affidavit from neighbors who we later learned had no idea what they were signing. The legal battle dragged on for months. It was stressful and expensive. All the while, Karen would parade past our house, smirking, acting as if she had already won. It was a war of attrition, and she was determined to break us. Finally, a court date was set. We were going to trial. Our lawyer told us the case had been assigned to a new judge, someone recently transferred to the civil division. The morning of the trial, I was a nervous wreck. I put on my best suit, feeling like a defendant on trial for my own home. Amelia was strangely serene. She chose a simple, professional navy blue suit. As we drove to the courthouse, she was quiet, contemplative. "Are you nervous?" I asked her. She just squeezed my hand. "Justice will be served," was all she said. We met our lawyer in the hallway outside the courtroom. Karen was already there with her own attorney, looking smug. She shot us a look of pure venom, When the bailiff called for everyone to enter, we all filed in. We took our seats at the plaintiff's table. Karen and her lawyer sat opposite us. We all stood as the judge entered from a side door and took her seat on the bench. The bailiff announced, "All rise for the Honorable Judge Amelia Collins." My jaw hit the floor. I whipped my head around to look at my wife, but she wasn't next to me. She was walking toward the bench, shedding her suit jacket to reveal the black robe underneath. She took her seat, her face a mask of judicial impartiality. The courtroom was silent. Karen's face went through a rapid series of emotions: confusion, disbelief, dawning horror, and finally sheer, unadulterated panic. Her lawyer looked like he'd seen a ghost, shuffling through his papers as if looking for an answer. My own lawyer had a wide, stunned grin on his face. He leaned over and whispered, "You didn't tell me your wife was a judge." I just shook my head, speechless. I had no idea she had been transferred to this division, but I never imagined she'd be assigned our own case. Amelia looked out over the courtroom. Her eyes met mine for a fleeting second, and I saw a flicker of the woman I loved before she became the embodiment of the law. Then her gaze fell upon Karen. "Before we begin," Amelia said, her voice clear and firm, resonating with authority, "I find it necessary to address a potential conflict of interest. The plaintiff, Mr. Miller, is my husband." A gasp went through the courtroom. Karen's lawyer immediately jumped to his feet. "Your Honor, we demand a recusal. This is an outrageous conflict of interest." Amelia held up a hand, silencing him. "I am aware of my ethical obligations, Counselor," she said coolly. "However, given the nature of the filings before me, specifically the defendant's submission of falsified legal documents, a felony, I might add, recusing myself would mean delaying justice. Instead, I will be referring this case to the District Attorney's Office for a criminal investigation into perjury and forgery. But first," she looked directly at Karen, her eyes like steel. "Miss Peterson, you have submitted fraudulent documents to this court. You have attempted to use the legal system to harass and intimidate a private citizen. You have lied under oath in your sworn affidavit. These actions are not just an attack on my family. They are an assault on the integrity of this entire judicial system." Karen was pale, trembling. She tried to speak, but no words came out. Amelia wasn't finished. "The civil matter of the HOA dispute is hereby dismissed with prejudice. All of the defendants' counterclaims are dismissed. The plaintiffs are awarded full compensation for all legal fees." She then turned to the bailiff. "Please escort Miss Peterson to a holding room. Investigators from the DA's office will be here shortly to speak with her." As the bailiff led a sobbing Karen out of the courtroom, Amelia banged her gavel. "This court is adjourned." She stood, gathered her papers, and disappeared back into her chambers without another glance. I just sat there, stunned, a slow smile spreading across my face. That night, Amelia came home late. She looked exhausted but relieved. I just hugged her. "You didn't tell me," I said. She smiled. "Judicial assignments are confidential until the day of the trial." I couldn't, but when I saw our case on my docket, I knew what I had to do. From that day on, our neighborhood was a lot quieter. The HOA was completely restructured, and we never had a problem with our welcome mat again. And every time I see my wife in her robe, I'm reminded that sometimes the best way to fight a Karen isn't to stoop to her level, but to be the judge who holds her accountable. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories.